I'm telling this to
Oh, no.
all y'all. Have that third. If not, maybe a fourth. As me and JP would tell you. They would with all that love and all that support.
Make sure you clarify. You said JP, not JP.
Yeah. That's already a shaky argument right there, man.
I'm gonna be honest. When I was in high school driving, I really ain't pay attention to gas prices because I already knew how much I was gonna put in. If they was gonna put $10 in there, it didn't really matter.
Because 83, you didn't have to worry about it too much.
Exactly.
You had to worry about it when
you was gonna ride.
I didn't pay attention to gas price. Now I'm pulling up and I'm like, oh, that gas over there nickel cheaper. Okay.
What's good, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Apartment 4A. Fellas, what's going on?
Hey.
What up?
What's going on?
Here. Honestly, with a little tip or trick.
Good to see all you guys, man. Good to see everybody. Thank everybody for taking some time to be with us. There's a lot been going on out there, man. You know, you got the NBA playoffs, got a lot of stuff in the news. And so we're going to talk about a little bit of some of the problems there. Or I guess they could be perceived problems on Earth. Y'all saw the little picture. Everybody say, "Oh, that's fire and brimstone." So, as the old folks would say,
I mean, it's the Earth on fire.
Hey, we going to hell in a handbasket, as the old folks would say.
You're right, you're wrong.
Not I.
I feel you, bro. Not I.
Yeah, I got other places to go, man. I ain't gonna make it to that. I ain't gonna make it on that trip.
I know that's right. But so I mean, there's a lot of things. We'll start off with some of the, I guess, entertainment news. We can jump off into Jonathan Majors, man. You know, Jonathan Majors, he was the hot boy for a little second. He had the Ant-Man movie. He had the Creed 3. He actually had another movie right before that. It was a military movie. I can't think of the name of it off top. But you know,
the movie, the
guy
Hattiesburg.
Yeah.
So
he was the net it guy. He was the guy, and I mean, they got at least 3 women accusing him of physical abuse, and he has a court date set for May the 4th. It might be the 8th.
Before we start talking about his legal issues, Creed 3 was fire.
Creed 3 was real good.
Yeah, no doubt.
Creed 3 was hot.
It was great.
Creed 3 was outstanding. It was a good movie.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it yet, but it's on my list.
Well, let me tell you what happened. So Rocky come back from the future. It's
did they fight?
Terminator type of thing.
I heard they fight in the movie.
I think there was a couple of punches thrown.
Okay.
There might have been a couple.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. I think they fought for about 30 seconds. You know,
a quick little squabble.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here for the fisticuffs, man.
Well, Jonathan better get rid of the fisticuffs. He better keep them on TV.
Man. And it's crazy. I mean, it ain't crazy, but see now, I mean, like you say, 2 other people came out now, and it ain't no telling how many more is gonna come out. So I want to be positive about this situation.
Hey, good luck, man.
I know, man. You know how that go, man.
I hate it too, man. I really do, because he was literally like Black Boy Joy. Like, he was just out here just, being emotional and masculine at the same time, man. I was loving it.
Emotional, masculine, and creative.
Yeah.
Photo shoots with dressed up as anime characters. I'm like, come on now.
Yeah, man.
Renaissance man.
Yeah, I hear hugging other black men, telling them you love them in public. He was setting the standard, man.
He was establishing a new normal.
Yup, they had to shut that down. Put him in jail.
Oh yeah.
They came
they put a red alert out on him. Like, hey, we need him shut down immediately.
They already auditioned for a possible replacement. But
they already replaced. Yeah, they already said he gone.
I didn't.
He officially ain't gone yet.
They said they just in the search and just in case they have to release him.
He on a thin rope.
I thought he was on the chopping block already.
Oh, he done that.
Hey, that's one exit. He on the block.
He up.
They gonna do him just like Terrence Howard.
Man.
And keep on moving.
Yeah.
So it's hope left then, huh?
Well,
Finna have a whole other career after this.
Well, hopefully he can have a whole nother career after this. You know, he basically gonna need that not guilty sentence because if it say guilty, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, this stuff made me think about the fact that at one point in time, the highest paid actor was ex drug addict. I'm talking about Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
That man had a whole new career after being a drug addict. So I don't know.
It's not that he can't come back or can't revitalize his career, but
Right.
you know,
but at this point,
being a drug addict is basically classified as a mental issue. Being an abuser, that's different.
Yeah.
That's a character issue.
Yeah.
So I feel sorry for the brother. I hope he get it all worked out. Because you know, the first time he got arrested, the allegations came out. They had like a whole video of he wasn't the one actually doing nothing to fight. It was her the whole time.
Right.
So I was like, you know, okay, everything.
Yeah, I was like, we good. He gonna beat that case.
Yeah.
And bam, bam.
I mean, so are they showing anything? Because I didn't even know they had a video. I didn't watch it, but did they have anything from any of the other accusers?
So basically, I guess the other accusers or at least they're coming out collaborating the actual story, and they are working with the DA. I think are they in Maryland? I think he said it was. Let me see.
The initial arrest was in New York.
Oh, okay, in Manhattan. I'm sorry, they in Manhattan.
Okay.
So he was arrested on March 25th, released, but then some more people came up and they basically saying, yeah, it's true, he been doing whatever. So
yeah, it was interesting. A lot of stories are coming out, even ones in the past where people were like, they weren't naming him specifically, and in the past they were like, yeah, this guy's like a terror on set and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, these allegations came out and they were like, hey, you remember a couple years back when I was saying that unnamed guy was a terror on the set? It was him. Yeah, so
they look for somebody to throw their first stone, and then everybody got a story.
Yeah.
So all I can say is pray for Jonathan Majors. Now I will say this. I mean, if it's true, then you know you should be, you know, punished to the full extent of the law. You know, you can't just go around abusing people. But if it ain't true, to me, at the same time, somebody should be punished for lying, because you know that man's career could physically be over some stuff that somebody made up. So
yeah,
well, right now he's already losing money.
Yeah, he's already taking it. I think
he already got dropped.
He lost his agent
that he probably was auditioning for to had his name close around it. They snatching up.
Yeah, the fallout already happened.
The Army ad and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was on top of the world, man. He was everywhere you look, literally.
That Army ad was fly too. I said, man, I want to join the military. I wish she had that ad back then. I could have got y'all joined.
That would have been the straw that broke the camel's back for us, man.
That's all it would have took.
I can look that good in the Army.
Encouragement, and then with the
right.
We all by now.
That's all Terrence needed was a fly ad.
It was a fly ad. We just didn't have nobody in the ad that looked like us. Now they do.
Exactly. Just walk up to dudes. Just walk up to guys. Hey man, hit play. Come here. This will be you. See that? You want that? You just wear a little outfit, man.
Yep. Sign this with outfit. We're gonna give you a Camaro, and you can.
I'll tell you.
Give you a Camaro.
It's gonna be a base model now.
Not the Camaro.
With a 72-month payment on $550.
Lord.
49% interest rate.
But don't worry about it.
I'm
Hey,
right.
Uncle Sam got you, baby.
I bet he do.
Take care of you.
As long as you stay in the military, that baby will cover. You get out.
Exactly. Don't
Get
ever
out of it.
leave.
It's on you.
That's wild. So as we continue to go around the world and other problems going on Earth, especially in the United States, we have this issue of school shootings. We are currently on pace to pass the record. For instance, last year was 22, so I think it was 21, 22. At this point in time, by April, we was at around 65 school shootings or incidents, school shooting incidents in or around schools. Right now, we're at 75. And so the question I have for you guys today, how or what can we do to change that narrative?
I'm gonna let the people in education take it.
I don't know about that, but I know how to defend it. You need an officer at every school.
Yeah.
At a minimum. Yeah, at a minimum.
It's like because the thing is, they saying not only just like violence, gun violence in school, just gun violence in the community has spiked altogether. They said since COVID, they saying the violence has gone up. They saying the education, kids' ability to their scores has dropped. The kids are still in school because it's so easy to stay in school now because you really don't have to be there to be considered in school. But they are not doing it and learning. They're not learning at the pace that they used to learn before COVID. So it's like it's a huge, and of course the employment is horrible. Nobody want to work now. So I have no idea what the solution is, but I know how to defend it.
Yeah.
you can't defend it with
a flashlight.
With flashlights and walkie-talkies. Huh?
You can't defend it with hugs.
Yeah.
No.
So and Terrence bring up a good point. I was talking to some teachers and some administrators somewhere else, and they were saying that that's one of the things that we could do is look at having armed security guards, whether it be police officer or ex-military or whatever, going through the proper background checks to have somebody to help protect those students. And I think one of the things, especially with shootings happening at school, to me, it's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but to me, I feel like they're going places where there's nobody there. Like the likelihood of you going to shoot at a place where you know there's an armed guard there is like, I ain't gonna go with the other guy with the gun, and I'm gonna go to the place that don't have the guy with the gun.
Right. So soft targets,
Right. And so that could be one of those things where, okay, now there's somebody there. Now you're gonna take your chance. Now, you may go in there and shoot, but somebody will shoot back.
The fact that there's even like pushback on that is strange to me. Because any place that's important, they got people protecting it. So you can't go to the bank and do whatever you want to do. You can't go to a courthouse, do whatever you want to do. You can't go to a military base, police station, like any place that they consider the people that are being important. There's no question there's going to be armed security there.
Yeah, man.
And even private places, like, I mean, I don't understand. I don't know, like, if it's like demonized or if there are certain people that just feel like there's this narrative that comes along with having to have an armed person at the school. But that'd be a line item in the budget, security. I mean, that's a no-brainer to me.
Now, I can be honest. I can see why some folks have pushback on it because it creates a military state. It make it feels like it's a prison. Like it's a prison. To be honest, because what we're doing now, we're having gates around the entire school, so we don't want anybody to jump over to gain access to the school. We having closed, like you just can't walk into the school anymore. You have to buzz in and buzz to this location, buzz to that location. You got to have your ID. It can honestly feel like it's a prison, but at the exact same time, what people are doing, they're attacking places that don't have all this stuff.
Yeah,
they're going to the places that don't have all these things. So you can't just say, hey, we don't want to make it feel or look like a prison. You have to bypass that, because that's the way where we at right now. You have to have something to protect
Right.
Yeah. So I feel like the people that think that adding those security measures makes it feel like a prison are naive, right? Because you go anywhere that's important. You go to the airport, go to the courthouse, and maybe I'm a little desensitized because I work on an actual military base, and I'm going to places where they really care about what we're doing, and you badging in, badging out. Nobody's just walking in and walking out, and I'm like, we're all adults. You go, if you talk about a building full of defenseless kids, I don't care how it look. The kids aren't going to be like, well, they're, because you're not policing the kids, you're protecting the kids. No. So you put these measures into place. I'm thinking about like an elementary school, or because like that's sad to say, like a lot of these shooters, they're not even going to schools where you have older kids. Like they're going to elementary school, they're killing babies. Yeah. So I'm like, that's not. I don't think that those things will be there to be implemented on the kids. I don't think once you implement them, it'll just be the norm. Like, oh, I walk through this little special door when I go into school. I don't know. Maybe that's me. I'm kind of focused on the
safety portion.
On something. Because the thing is, like, this is a talking point every year. Every time it happens, people talk and talk and talk. Politicians grab it. They make it political. They argue their point. If you're a Republican, you don't want nobody to touch your guns. If you're Democrat, you want to take the guns. But the dust settles and then change. So it's like there's no one single bullet that's going to fix it. But you got to do something. You got to start moving forward. And all this back and forth just keep us in the same place.
What? No pun intended by that one single bullet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about school shootings and should we have armed security in the school. So please put in your comments. Tell me what you think about the school shooting, whether we should have armed security guards or armed security at those schools. JP, J-Key, Willie, y'all got anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the line with Terrence. I mean, it's like I definitely don't have the answer to it, but the safety aspect, I think you need that. And like Eric said, it's places like we go to the buffet place on Sunday. They have an armed guard in the parking lot, directing traffic and keeping watch on everything. And that's at the buffet place.
So keep that chicken safe, man.
I'm telling you. So I'm like, y'all wow. Yeah. Hey, I'm for it because I mean, at the end of the day, we got kids. You send them to school. You want them to be able to go and be in a safe environment. You want to trust that everything's gonna be all right, and they're gonna come back home that same day. So I like, and then I get on the lines with Eric. Like you got to do something. It can't just keep dying, and then we back at scratch again.
Yeah.
So one of the things the most recent incident didn't actually happen at a school. It happened on a school bus. And I know we got a couple of bus drivers here, but what happened in Greenville, North Carolina, a 16-year-old student was injured when a gun accidentally discharged on a school bus, which was transporting students from South Central High School. So one of the questions was asked, should bus drivers allowed to be armed?
Oh no, they're gonna wild out.
See, I think that's one of those. Yeah, that happened, but like I said, once again, you got to start somewhere, right? That's a outlier case, right? I don't think you start strapping the bus drivers behind that incident. That's not a common like area for something to happen, right? I think. If you look at, like, if you were to arm bus drivers and prevent something like that from happening again, the impact would be like minimal. Like you still have a lot of other incidents. So,
and the armed bus driver wouldn't prevent that. One, I don't know who had the gun, but it was an accident. It wasn't one of those things where they were pointing at somebody. It was a discharge. The gun could have been in a bag or a pocket or whatever. And the student got shot. You know, obviously the gun shouldn't have been on the bus in the first place. But you know, the bus driver wouldn't have had, whether he had a gun or not, wasn't nothing that bus driver could have done about this situation.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a quick. Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
How many of y'all have rode a school bus before?
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, y'all rode a school bus. I want to tell y'all.
I read it now if you drop me off at work.
Bus drivers are crazy. We have so much going on behind our head that no bus driver in America needs a gun on the bus.
Hey,
and we really don't.
Hey, I remember being in middle school and one of the bus drivers choking one of the kids out on the bus because he was wild out.
We don't need no gun. Now, with that being said, we really don't
play.
With that being said, we really are the unprotected people. Bus drivers are unprotected because we don't know what's getting on the bus. We really don't. We don't know what you got in your backpack. We don't know what you got in your pants. You know, at least it's at school. If they do have security, they can, you know, sometimes we pull up to school and they checking backpacks. Well, if you checking backpacks at the school, anything could have happened on the bus to the school. So we really are unprotected. But I would not give any one of our crazy self a gun. No.
I agree with you.
Back in elementary, my bus driver did have a gun.
Oh wow.
James O'Neill. I'm pretty sure he's dead and gone right now, so I can say his name. But some kids started talking crazy to him. He pulled his gun out and they got quiet. He got fired. But we didn't have any incident on that route going home.
I bet you did.
James was still outside. I see.
I might be fired, but I know the route.
That's even worse.
Ricardo say the cowards are going after the easiest, softest targets. Police presence will help deter the shooters. He said a couple of years ago, an ex-military guy tried to break into a government building here in Dallas, 2 blocks from his old apartment. He did get far. Not sure if he got a shot off at all. So, you know, that's to show, you know, just the presence of that security could kind of change the whole effort around that.
I do want to say this though. I don't know if you did the research on this, Rod, but do you know the percentage of shooting that actually happens inside the school? Because most of the people who come and shoot up a school are outside person, an old adult or somebody who don't even go to that school comes and shoot up school. So
yeah,
I don't think it's an internal thing. I think it's an external thing that we don't have enough barriers to get inside the school.
Yeah,
I feel you.
That's what I was saying. Like all of this stuff, like once the kid is inside of school, like this will kind of be transparent to them because they inside. And so the goal is to keep with any security measure, right? Allow people that's supposed to be there and prevent the people that's not from getting in. So if you got something in place where, you know, y'all can lock the school down, hit a button, and now instead of being able to roam free, they isolated to one building, one room, one hall or something like that, just prevent them from moving. Like that, every second that you can slow them down or even prevent them from getting in at all, give the authorities some time to get there, or, you know, a better case scenario, whoever the on-site person is, you know, the opportunity to find out where they at, send them on their way.
Based on the data from educationweek.com, they're looking at all shooting when somebody got shot, killed, or injured around or in a school. It doesn't necessarily have to be during school hours. It could be after a basketball game. It could have been right outside the school or in the school. So there's not a very high number of shootings where somebody's actually in the school and doing it, even though we know those happen. but there's a lot of shootings in and around, schools. So that's kind of the thing.
Yeah, when we first started talking about it, I didn't want to deter from the importance of the point, but they have kind of changed what they classify as a school shooting.
Yeah.
So the numbers are kind of skewed a little bit. One is too many, but just the kind of narrative that they're going up at a drastic rate. Like there might be some ulterior motives there, but it is still a problem. As
we stay in the schools, most of you may have seen this report happened yesterday. Substitute teacher in New York. Basically, she gets into a little situation where she took up some phones, and this one young lady wanted her phone back. She ran up on the teacher. The teacher told her what her name was, and she defended herself. She got her down to the ground. She might have got 4 or 5 licks in there, and then she held it down, and somebody came out there. And right now, the school district and superintendent is on the side of the teacher, and basically said that she basically had to defend herself because the student attacked her, and wasn't that she jumped on the student. So, what do you think, or how do you feel? And I know some of y'all are in the school district, so you may or may not be able to say whatever. What do you feel about defending yourself against students at the school, or a teacher defending themselves against a student at the school?
Hey, you go take.
We tell our teachers all the time: if someone is aggressing you, you have the right to defend yourself. That's anywhere.
Sometimes I think you have the right to
defend yourself.
I think you have to sometimes. You.
Go ahead, John.
I didn't say that.
Oh, that was JP. I see there's Kill down there. They must not have no internet.
I'm just waiting. If he changed the name back, the connection might be a little better.
No, I'm good because I will say this, and first of all, like Eric addressed a good question earlier, about school, but my thing is, do society, do the government, do America, do we consider school important? Because if we did, and I'm not just talking about safety measures, there'll be more stuff put in place to help not just certain students, but it'll be more things in place, and it will be ran in a more how can I put this in the best way? Government backing policy, like you said about the banks. You can't do what you want to do in the bank, but the school district cater to parents. Every school district cater to the community. It allows a lot of feedback from outside influences, and it doesn't help the school district, it actually hurts the school district. So, which brings us to it, what type of umbrella are we under? Do we consider school important? Because private school students not to take standardized tests in order to get a high school diploma, but yet still public school students have standardized tests to get a diploma. So, how do we consider it important? I mean, before we talk about fixing the issue, do we consider it important, or are we going to continue to be divided?
Man, that's a good question, JP. I mean, you sit down and look at it. Everybody's not on a level playing field. Realistically, you got some people being able to. I'm not trying to really down the private school, but they get to pay for some services that other people can't afford, and so kind of put them in a safer environment, may put them in a better educational environment, or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, you can't hear me.
Yeah.
Oh, but at the same time, what do we need to do? Or we do need to look at the school as in a very important place to where it need to be. As far as safety and education, we need to be looking at schools like, and for me, I think people, especially parents, should have looked at schools a little different since the pandemic. Because when parents had to be the teacher for a year, that made you put a different perspective on what the teachers do and what they have to go through and things that you may need to help or join the PTO or whatever. At those schools. So, that's a very good question. Very good way to look at it, JP.
Well, and see, I'm saying this because like everybody we're trying to solve or fix the puzzle, but we can't fix the puzzle when all the pieces aren't lining up. And that's the issue that we're facing right now in the public schools and in society. And like I said, you guys had a lot. It was a lot of good questioning, but we missing. Another thing that I thought that was interesting, like somebody was talking about arming the bus drivers, and like Jonathan said, it's so much goes on. A lot of incidents that happen in school with the fightings and shooting stuff like that. This stuff doesn't happen during school. It happens outside of school. And people are allowed to bring their stuff to school without any consequence. And like you said, it's so many. Everybody is catering to everyone else and no one wants to hold. Because, I mean, you look at that with the cell phone policy. If every school district adhere or stand by the cell phone policy, a lot of these issues will be eliminated. But we don't. We cater to the kids. We cater to the parents. We cater to everybody else. Well, we allow them to have a cell phone because we're so afraid of going to court and getting sued. And those are the things that are hurting. And it's not just public schools, private schools as well. Those are the things that are hurting. We're setting a false narrative for our children in society. And so until we establish or set boundaries, all this stuff gonna continue to go on. It don't matter if you take guns away from people, give everybody a gun, it doesn't matter. We're still gonna have issues because there are no set rules and boundaries. It's not. Everybody got feelings and everybody got rights.
And I wouldn't say there's no set rules and boundaries. I think the issue is the parents and teachers nowadays don't uphold those rules and boundaries. It's like there's rules, there's regulation in place, but time there's a pushback. You wanna crumble. Or with the parents, it's like I'm gonna defend my kid no matter what. I want my kids to know that I have their back, even though they're wrong. That's not right. You can't teach your kids that.
Which brings me to my point. Who are we catering to, and do we consider schooling important? Because at the end of the day, if the bank make an error and give me too much money, guess what I'm gonna have to do to the bank? I'm responsible for paying that money back, right? I don't care if even if the error is on them. I am responsible for paying that money back. So, like you said,
after 48 hours, it's your property then, because you have been comfortable with that property. You felt like it's your property. You had things planned for that for that money. After 48 hours, I think that's in the rule book. It's yours.
I need to copy that rule book.
We looked this up one time.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
Right, but you see what I'm saying though. We're catering, like you said, parents are allowed to defend their children, but when in reality, everybody have rule. If we consider school important like we need to, there should be standard rules and laws and stuff that we should follow, and it should be black and white. And if it says no cell phones, then let's do that. No cell phones. If your child is conducted tardy, if your child should not raise their voice at another adult. This should be the consequence. We adhere to the community and other people, other outside influences, because there's no backing. There's no backing. I don't care from the state level, federal level. There's no backing, no protection.
So
let me ask you this, JP.
Uh-huh.
When do you feel like school changed, or when do you feel like, you know, that became one of the things where people didn't look at school as something that was important? They were just something that a child had to do. Do you feel like when you was in school that it was more important then than it was now? And it's hard to compare because some, like when I was in high school, wasn't no cell phone. Like I couldn't bring no cell phone to school. Like some of the stuff they can do now, we didn't have. And so, you know,
but also in high school, Mr. Bird could have whooped you behind at the school.
Yeah, that's true. And see, Ricardo made
it's a different element back then.
And see, Ricardo made a statement, and we all talk about armed security. Man, people now don't respect the police. People don't care about the police. People talk more trash to the police now than they ever did. You know, and it's not even about discrimination or this and that. People do not there's no fear in society anymore. People are just doing stuff just because of free will and just because they want to do stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'll finish. Say what you was gonna say, JP.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was saying the whole, like your whole thought. Then I was talking to one of my other friends who is a teacher in Tylertown, and essentially I was saying that teachers have no, y'all are not allowed to control your classrooms. Like y'all cannot discipline the kids. Like there's no discipline, and I noticed it even at a pre-K preschool level, where often my youngest comes home and I have to hit the reset button on her because she's been at school all day and I let her do whatever. And I gotta actually, like, there's no consistency with the standard that we set at home and in at school. Because I think about, you know, parents that go to the parent-teacher conference and the teacher say your child been showing out, and the parents like, oh, they would, you know, they don't act like that at home. When we was growing up, you knew that the kid knew what to do and what not to do because he was catching it at home, and the teacher was going to call your parents. There's going to be that communication and that support. But now the kid really can be a whole different person at school and do whatever. It's like it's so much. It's so difficult. You got a kid spending 40 hours a day somewhere where they know that there's no that there's nothing that can be done to them.
So to me, I guess it's twofold. You know, it's one of those things where, of course, for those parents who do what they're supposed to do at home and hoping that they send their child to take that to school and do what's right. But at the same time, for those who can't, and I'm not saying even all the teachers who don't, who is held responsible for that?
And see, that's the problem. No one is here. Let me tell you who held responsible: the school district, because it's all about data. It's all about graduating kids. It's all about passing kids through the system. No one is teaching these children. I don't care if you go to Madison Central or Oklahoma High School or whatever. No one is back then, when we was in school, we had teachers that not only taught us, but also cared about us to teach us the values of how to handle attitudes, how to conduct yourself in public, you know, what not to, you know, we had teachers that taught beyond school. Now it's not about that anymore. It's about what I got to, every teacher now, goal, mission, what I got to do to survive. And like I said, I've been blessed. I've been in different school districts, and I've seen how different school district runs, and I see the same thing in every school district, but the only thing I see different is who can cover it up the best.
Yeah, that's funny you say that, because when we first moved to Alabama, there was we moved to Huntsville, and there was this one school district that everybody's just like, oh, you got kids, they got to go to the school district, got to get them in. And I mean, they charging crazy rates for the houses there, and basically it's all off the back of the reputation of the school district. And come to find out, they were severely underreporting incidents at their schools. like severely. Like they was reporting like, one fight a year and stuff like that. And somebody actually in a meeting pulled up a YouTube video from one of the kids. And they was like, this kid goes to this school that's in the school district. He's got 12 videos on here of fights, and these are all 12 different fights, but they'll report it one. How is this possible?
It's not they was underreporting, it's how they report it. It's all about articulation.
Oh, okay.
Kids get into a verbal altercation, that is not a fight.
No, I'm talking
if two kids throwing fists left and right and there's a bloody nose, that's not a fight. Now, if 3 or 4 kids jump on one kid, that might be a fight.
Oh, it might be. Depending on the type of injury, huh?
It's all. But to be honest, that's exactly how we do it. I can't say they do it. That's how we do it. When you write up on the long form, if you circle 14, they're gonna say nope, don't circle 14. Does it meet this criteria here? If not, circle 13. 13 will look a whole lot better than 14. If you can't justify 14, do not circle 14.
Yeah. And that's exactly that makes so much sense to Terrence City because that's exactly what Petter and Oak Grove do. They really don't report everything. And Harrisburg get the slack because we crazy folks over in Harrisburg they report everything like we ain't got no sense. So it makes it seem like Harrisburg just bad school.
Harrisburg, they gotta know.
We report stuff that we don't even should report. But you go, they like Petal, they don't do that in Petal, and they don't do that in Oak Grove. Yes, they do. They got the same bad kids in Harrisburg that they got in Petal and Oak Grove. A lot of them,
the kids who left Harrisburg
went over there. Yeah.
But once again, it goes back to it: how you covering it up, and what. And like my original question, do we really consider school important? Because right now, everybody doing what everybody's doing. How can I save my job? Nobody wants to bite the bullet. Nobody wants to. And like I said, we talk about all this other stuff. How can we fix? No, until we fix the real issue. And like Eric said, make school important. Make it a federal. If you touch a teacher, that's federal. If you touch a teacher, you're going to federal. You being charged as a felon. Okay, so what? They go to jail. It's gonna. I'm telling you, people want to do right. But if they see they can get away with it, they see they become a YouTube sensation, or they can continue to get likes and all that crap, it's gonna continue to go.
And that's exactly what Ricardo was saying. There's so many things to factor in. Parents entitled to kids. Kids can't separate social media and the internet from reality. I would never want to be a teacher in this environment, and it's true. You know that thing, that internet, boy, it's a crazy thing.
So we didn't have to deal with that, growing up because we didn't have it.
I had the internet.
We didn't have the internet out there. You had the dial-up. When somebody went on the phone, you could use the dial-up. As soon as somebody called, it's gonna block it in. All we had was AOL chat room and all that stuff. We didn't have Yahoo chat. We didn't have Facebook and stuff like that. So now it's a whole different world. Everybody's just trying to go viral. Now the teacher, going back to that subject that you brought up, the sub teacher that got in a fight with the student. Sometimes you got to defend yourself. Now I agree there could have been other ways to handle that situation. Like she could have wore draws, but there should be other ways. There was the other way.
Wait. Hey,
you don't walk out with somebody else.
Put him in situation. Put him in
timeout. But I understand if somebody swing on you, your first initiative to swing back.
Girl was in that teacher's face.
So
I ain't sorry, you said the lady not having on drawers.
I
maybe she had on some. Maybe they just got pulled in the fight.
She got called in at the last minute, man.
Yeah, so I don't know, man.
So she had time to put everything.
So I feel like the overarching issue, because we used to talk about this about like college, right? Like we say, like, well, college isn't the real world. Like parents should tell you college isn't the real world. You're being babied and all this stuff. And people have some real life experiences in college. But you take that to school where literally nothing you do, the consequence never fits the crime, right? There's no real world, real time consequences for what you do in school now. Whereas with us, like consequences was quick, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine being in school, middle school or high school, and yelling at your teacher, like getting up and going behind the desk, telling them what you're gonna do, what you ain't gonna do? Could you imagine witnessing that? Like out of your whole 12 years of lower education, could you imagine that? Like it's unfathomable. But now it's just another incident. And like to be honest, I don't even know what would happen if you did that.
Back
when we was
then,
in school.
Oh, yeah.
Back then.
Well, see,
like,
back then, but see, it was different,
like
man.
expelled, like so in my school, I went to school right outside Atlanta. We had an armed security guard. Well, he went on. We had a police officer, like pistol on the hip, like guys like 6'2", like 280. Like if you got to fighting, you started out fighting the kid, and you ended up fighting him. He was gonna get some licks. Like that was gonna happen. Yeah. Like so to me, I'm like, if you can police kids, like protect them. Like,
hey, we had a principal that went around whooping kids with belts. You remember that? Will?
Who?
The principal that's down at the North Campus.
Oh yeah, I ain't never had to worry about that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But then,
and he got away with it. He got away with it.
Oh yeah. But you know, folks on Facebook was talking about Miss Davidson from me and Johnson know. Like when anybody would have confronted this teacher like they did on internet, like nah.
You talking about Valerie Davidson?
Yeah. Nah.
I mean that's so.
But it was different because
it was unheard of. I don't remember seeing. I don't remember.
Teachers knew your families. You knew this. Everybody was connected. Like if I go to school and show out, I'm embarrassed my family, my folks. Folks at the same church on Sunday, so it's like
it was
a lot more at stake. Yeah, it was a community.
And I think that's the issue right now. We don't have a community anymore. It's like the people you go to school with is not the people you do life with anymore. The people you go to church with is not the people you do life with. Everybody, you go to a location, but you don't go to the church in your area. You don't go to the school in your area. You don't know these people don't work in the schools in the area. They work somewhere. They drive to work. So
you know what's crazy, Taylor? It's the same people that we grew up with, and the same stuff that they never tolerated while we was growing up. These same people who's our age now allow their kids to do certain stuff, and you like, now you were never allowed to do that. Like you, and they go for certain stuff that you like. We were raised in the same generation, the same environment. We went to school together. I know, I know how your mama was. I know how my mama was. Now, why would you allow your child to do something that, like just disrespectful?
And I'm gonna tell you this because it goes back to it. As a parent, your child is like somebody said it earlier. You're gonna defend for your child. You want to show your child that you got their back and everything. But in reality, by doing that, you crippling your child. And and that's what the majority of, like how we talk about community, how back then, whatever the teacher said, it don't matter what they said. They was right. And we got punished because whatever the teacher said, the teacher back then they always said it, and I say it now every day. No grown person won't lie on a kid for no reason. No reason. But in reality, Ricardo said it best, we allow our children to get away with so much because we don't want to tell the truth and we don't want to hurt their feelings. We're more going into the road of friendship instead of parenting, if that makes any sense.
So here's my question. Then. Whose fault is that?
Hey, read my name, Kim Jong-un. We need to be like Kim Jong-un. We need to be a dictatorship here in America. Fuck everybody rights, and we need to run this shit how goddamn North Korea run. You don't hear no issues coming.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm just messing with JP.
So I don't know what's in JP sippy cup. but it must be good. But
yeah, a little moment.
Yeah, but
it's the real thing. Like if you look at it, we were raised a certain way, and we have these values. We know right from wrong. We know what we did. Are more people our age looking at this thing like I'm not gonna treat my kids the way my parents taught me, or are they saying what my mom and dad did was that's just not what I want to do? No, what was the other one? I'm sorry. I'm not gonna treat my kids the way my parents treated me or where they did me. I want my parent to be more of a friend, or should they be leaning more towards the way their parents did? Like, cause somewhere it changed. Somewhere from us to them, how we raise kids has changed.
I had a parent tell me this the other day, and this is an older parent, but it also goes back to even our people our age and older. Everybody infatuated with social media, on the computer, Facebook, Twitter. We so eager to look at everybody else's life, right? So this parent told me that, like, hey, look, I'm not worried about my child doing this, that, and the third. When they go to school, they're gonna teach them how to do this. They're gonna teach them how to do that. They're gonna teach them. So if they don't get it done, it's gonna be the school fault. And I'm like, what? No. But we're so quick to talk about what your neighbor did or what Johnny did because of Facebook, Twitter, social media, TikTok. But everybody's life is now surrounded by these phones. And no one can put their phone down for 30 seconds, because they feel like they're going to miss something.
Hey, it's crazy you said that, JP, because I seen a video of this lady saying that she was just, I guess she was a comedian, really, because she was just acting out something, and she was like, she was talking to a teacher per se, and said she told the teacher, and she was like, my child spend more time with you than they spend with me. So if they ain't doing right on your part, that's your fault. Cause they with you all day, they only with me a few hours a day. And I was like, we really had to raise, like, these teachers really had to raise your child.
So
they only see you on the weekend.
So I think it's twofold, right? To go back to Ryan's question, I feel like parents and parenting has definitely changed. I think that it's been a progressive thing. It wasn't just like all of a sudden with our generation. Like, I think that progressively, because our parents didn't allow teachers to do stuff, and they didn't raise us the way that their parents raised them. So they were a little softer on us, even though it didn't feel that way. And then, our generation is definitely soft on their kids. But I think, like, just a push for education and the importance of it has gone down. Because I know for our parents, it was like there was no other option, right? There was no internet. All these different ways to earn a living and take care of yourself, they didn't exist. So to them, the only way, either you played sports and you had some sort of like God-given gift, or you hit them books. Either way, you're gonna get out of my house. That was the end goal. But now there's this illusion of like, well, school is just, it's just something else to do. Like, you got to do it. Like, is the importance is not like tied to your well-being like it was for us.
And Eric, and you said something then. Right now, poverty is accepted. The bare minimum is accepted now in society. No one is pushing no one for greater. Everybody's being okay with the bare minimum. But like you said, our parents, hey, you got to do something. Either go to work, military, or go to school. Them were the three options you had. Wasn't no staying at home, wasn't no living here. But right now, the bare minimum is okay. It's okay for me to go get a government assistant home. It's okay for me to not have a father in my house. I raise my child. I have 4 or 5 kids or whatever. It's okay because other people gonna help me take care of, poverty. Bare minimum is acceptable now, which also brings us, I'm a hush.
I think I like how you said it's the delusion. We are society now is delusional about the idea that you don't have to have an education to be successful, because they see so much stuff on social media. They think that they don't have an education. They're successful, but are they really successful? And how long is that gonna last? As in, they see that instant money, they see that instant fame just from going viral and getting all these hits and getting all these likes, and they think that that's reality in the sense where if I do this, I can get that, and I can be an influence, and I'll be set.
Yeah.
But I really want to see how these influencers look 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because we really don't know.
They're dope boys. They're dope boys with no retirement plan, and it's killing me. Like you say, I mean, but we're hypnotized. Society is fooled by. I mean,
yeah. So I think it kind of goes back to one of the fundamental kind of issues that we have in America, where fame is more important than anything.
Yeah.
Like it don't matter who you are. It don't matter what you've done, what you've accomplished. You could be a scientist who invented sliced bread, but if there's somebody who's famous, whatever they say is gold, right? They don't have to prove nothing that they're saying is right. They don't have to show you any sort of like results or anything they've done. The goal is to get famous. And now we have social media and the internet that appears to be more achievable than ever. But the problem is the way these sites are set up, you have to do such a drastic thing. And that's why you have these kids going to these links, doing these pranks and all this stuff just to like try to go viral. But even that don't turn into money. Like you got to have some sort of understanding of what you're using, technology, platform, like there's you could blow up today. You could check your phone and post a video tonight, check your phone tomorrow. That video had 20 million views. What you do now? You don't know. You have no idea because you don't have any understanding of marketing, of business. Like you have no plan. It's sad.
What's crazy is
I like it, Jay.
What's crazy is the situation with this sub teacher, where they was fighting over a cell phone. Meanwhile, it's another student with a cell phone who's recording this video and bringing it on social media. That's how we know. Yep. And it ended up being a good thing and a bad thing, because it's a good thing because it kind of helps the teacher out to a point where if it went on video in today's society, the teacher would have been wrong. But that's all we would have known, is the teacher was wrong. Teacher got in a fight with a student. That's all we would have heard. Teacher was fired. So now you have video evidence of this student coming to hit this teacher first. Because now in today's society, believe the student, question the teacher. In our generation, it was question the kid, believe the teacher from day one. So now it has switched over. So
which brings me to my point, what I was saying earlier.
I'm about to say.
How much
you didn't get questioned while you were getting a whooping? I got questioned. My mama every lick she asked me a question.
No, it wasn't no question.
But she
was telling you. Yeah, exactly. You better not never go up to that school and show your behind again. Embarrass me.
But see, like you said, Jonathan, like at the end of the day, the child that were recording was wrong.
Yeah, they own it. They own it.
Did he drop the phone? What is that a phone drop?
I said I'm about to say, you go there fried chicken. Hey man, let's go to Dodgers, man. You ain't gotta do all that.
So one of the things that listen to these conversations, good conversation. We didn't even get to the rest of the stuff, so we just kind of stuck on schools. But do you think the push from the older generation for us going to school is what made everything change, especially everybody trying to get this face? So for example, when we were in high school, the thing was you gotta go to school. There was not a lot of you can get a trade, you go to a military. The push was go to school. Like when you graduate, you gotta go to school.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if that push is the same, because now that we went in school and we know there's so many other options that you can do, like trade, like military or whatever. Do you think that push for education is what's changing kind of the narrative of the next generation? Because maybe they're not interested in learning, get educated to do anything different.
No, I don't think so.
Go, Will.
Yeah, I don't think so. Because I mean, I think the push. I mean, because honestly, I think some of that push should have been around when we were coming up, as far as like getting trades or seeking other ways to earn a living. Because honestly, like we spoke in previous podcasts, college is not for everybody. It's good to go get the experience, different type of community, meet new people, all that. That's great, but that's not for everybody. So I get that. Now that have an effect on how this generation conducts themselves, I don't think so. I just think it's a lot of lost kids. It's a lot of issues. It's so much to try to solve. JP gave some great points.
I agree. I agree. One point JP said, I ain't gonna call them dope boys. I ain't gonna call them no dope boys, but these kids, they pushing the weed heavy. Heavy. Man, they pushing the weed heavy.
So I wanted to ask Jonathan and Terrence, I want to ask y'all a question. If y'all had to put a number on it, what would y'all say is like the average tenure of a teacher nowadays?
Nowadays, 5 years.
Are they like before they change schools, or they stop teaching altogether?
No, they change schools. It's 2.
Before they change school is a year.
It's 1 to 2 years before they change schools. Before they get out, before the new teachers, in the last 10 years, before they get out of teaching, is 5.
Yeah, the number one is not enough money. Now, teachers make good. Let me take this back. Teachers make good. They do make good, but it's not enough money to deal with what they have to deal with.
That's true.
Yeah.
But they do pretty good money wise, but they ain't finna stay in those. These teachers now graduating at 21, thinking they finna stay in a classroom to 51 for 30 years. They ain't finna do it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking before, like when kind of you were asking about like that push to get an education and all that stuff, and students who had the teachers cared about them. The teachers don't want to be there. I mean, it's almost like a chicken and the egg problem, because the teachers don't want to be there because the parents ain't parenting, and the parents not parenting is why the teachers don't want to be there. And so you kind of had this cycle where the kid is just kind of in between a rock and a hard place. It's like you got to go to school. The parent don't care about what you do in school,
and they had to deal with that aspect, and then they had to deal with the administration, because the administration push is we need these kids at school so we can get the money so we can focus. You write up a kid nowadays, they give them a slap on the wrist, pretty much, because they want them at school. Yeah, so they're not really standing behind teachers, because if it's something like a fight or something, we can handle it. Let's send them to the alternative school. Now you got to go to the alternative school because you still going to school. They don't put you out of school. You got to do something drastic for them to put you out of school. And you got to do something even more drastic for them to put you out of school bus, because they need you to get on that bus to come to school so they can get the money.
Yeah. Like I say, I don't think that
that's why I was putting kids on myself. That's another story for another day.
Yeah. It's I think I don't know, man, school, like I said, the original topic of protecting schools and school shootings, that's one thing, but I think it all go back to is how important is school to everybody, like to leadership, to the community, to parents, to kids. And from what y'all saying, the teachers, it ain't important, or it's not important enough to warrant the sacrifice of teaching for most. because I know when we went to school, our teachers. I know high school, my teachers was there. They had been teaching for 20 years by the time I started high school.
Right.
That was a career. Like they were like a part of at least the school community. Mm-hmm. They were like a pivotal part of that. It was rare that you had a new teacher pop up and, or a teacher leave.
That is an interesting point here because it is going to be interesting to see how the teachers who started teaching the last 5 to 7 years, how long they stay. Because right now, the average tenure for school for teachers is 14 years, but they started 14 years ago. And so these not the people who started now. So it will be interesting to see kind of, in 5 years, are they still there or have they moved on?
Hey, those teachers we had didn't have to worry about the things that they had to worry about now.
Yeah,
those teachers came to school. Some of them teachers came to school and they sat at their desk. They moved whenever they wanted to move. Now these teachers, they got to be on the standstill because they'll know what you coming in with, what might happen. If they're gonna get jumped today, is gonna be a school shooting. Them older teachers, they ain't worried about none of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, when after a school shooting, every teacher on our campus is freaked out. They become the police officer best friends. They say, hey, how's it going? Have you noticed this? Have you noticed that? It's like their anxiety level shoots up when there's a school shooting. And just imagine how many school shootings we already had this year. Mm-hmm. So it's like they are always now where it was a peak and valley at sometimes now, like they always on 10 because they have to be hyper vigilant. So they get in the mind frame of a police officer now, as in they always looking for something. They always on 10, and that is not good for the body. If your body's always hyper vigilant, it put more stress on your body, and the wear and tear of your body goes down a whole lot more. So the reason why teachers don't stay as long because they are truly worn out, not just because of all the requirements of the state and the school, but also just the requirements of trying to keep them kids safe.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And that's the thing, man, as we venture through some of these topics, and we'll go ahead and end it for the night, but, one thing was looking at the problems that are facing this earth, and we kind of settled in a little bit today on schools and what's going on in the school system. And if we realistically think about it, that's where it starts. It starts with our young ones. If we teach and train them up the way that they should go, then they will come in and be able to help to make this world a better place. It ideally starts with us, hopefully at the same time that it can also move on to the school districts and to the teachers to allow this thing we call an earth, a thing that we call home, to solve some of the problems with some actual solutions that we have. Anybody got anything before we go?
Hey, y'all go to Dallas. They said they're paying $60,000 for teachers per year. I'm just saying.
Oh my!
But hey, dealing with big issues too.
After this podcast, I have no reason.
Hey, I got one thing to say.
They don't care about the kids. Don't care about the teachers. It's too much. I'm good.
Both them kids.
Hey, I just want to tell you,
right now, those who have the ability to teach and to mold these young men and women don't come into the schools and teach them. They need some Willies in the school.
They don't need Willie. Don't need this Willie.
Hey,
Terrence, so you sending your Willie up there already, huh?
Terrence, I seen something on social media. They said everybody know what teachers supposed to do, but don't nobody want to teach.
Not a soul. It is not easy.
Oh no,
we got
every teacher.
Hey, I'm not gonna be depressed tonight. Hey, tomorrow, happy Earth Day. Enjoy it.
I feel you, man. Well,
be great, baby. Be great.
And with that, we will appreciate everybody for taking some time out to hang with us, man. And like always, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here. Deuces.
Peace.
That third. I'm I'm telling this to
no.
y'all. Have that third. If not, maybe a fourth. As me and JP would tell you. They would with all that love and all that support.
Make sure you clarify. You said JP, not JQ.
Yeah. That's already a shaky argument right there, man.
I'm gonna be honest. When I was in high school driving, I really ain't pay attention to gas prices because I already knew how much I was gonna put in. If they were gonna put $10 in there, it didn't really matter.
83. You didn't have to worry about it too much.
Exactly.
You had to worry about it when
you was gonna ride.
I didn't pay attention to gas price. Now I'm pulling up and I'm like, oh, that gas over there nickel cheaper. Okay.